You've probably noticed something unsettling. People work their whole lives, retire in their 60s, and by the time they hit 80, their health starts to fail fast. It's as if life itself decides they've outlived their usefulness. But that's not true, and it's a dangerous belief. The real reason most seniors have a short lifespan after 80 isn't just genetics or luck. It's because they stop living before they actually die. Now, if you want to make it past 100 and not just survive but thrive, you need wisdom, not just knowledge, not just medical advice, but a deep practical understanding of what keeps people alive and sharp. And I'm going to share 5 secrets that are absolutely critical if you want to live beyond 100 with strength, clarity, and purpose. One of the biggest mistakes people make as they age is believing they've earned the right to stop being useful. It's a dangerous idea, one that accelerates decline faster than almost anything else. The truth is, human beings are built for responsibility. The moment you stop contributing in a meaningful way, your body and mind begin to atrophy. It's not just a metaphor, it's a biological reality. The people who live well past 100 have one thing in common. They continue to take on challenges no matter their age. They don't just sit back and wait for life to pass by. They stay engaged and they stay needed. That's critical because the human brain thrives on challenge. It's wired to solve problems, to engage in effortful activity, and to pursue goals. When you remove those elements from life, the brain loses its sense of direction. This often leads to cognitive decline, depression, and even a weakened immune system. Many elderly people suffer not because their bodies are failing, but because they have nothing left to do. Their children are grown, their careers are over, and society subtly tells them their time is up. That belief is deadly. The healthiest, sharpest, and longest-lived people reject it outright. They continue to work, to mentor, to create, to build. Some of the greatest minds in history did their best work in their later years. Michelangelo was sculpting at 88, Benjamin Franklin was shaping a nation in his 70s, and today we see centenarians running businesses, writing books, and teaching younger generations. It doesn't have to be work in the traditional sense. Responsibility can take many forms. It might be mentoring young people, helping with grandchildren, volunteering in the community, or simply being the cornerstone of a family. What matters is that there's something that demands effort, something that requires the person to engage, to think, to move, to contribute. This idea is backed by research. Studies show that seniors who continue to engage in purposeful activities have lower rates of dementia, live longer, and report greater life satisfaction. The key is to resist the temptation to retreat into passivity. When people stop contributing, they start deteriorating, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Purpose is what keeps a person alive. It's not just a psychological trick, it's a fundamental law of existence. If you want to live long and stay sharp, you need to stay in the game. Aging is not just a process of getting older, it's a battle against decline. The body is an extraordinary machine, but like any machine, it needs regular maintenance. The problem is that most people, as they age, stop moving the way they should. They slow down, they become cautious, and they allow their physical strength to deteriorate. That's when real aging begins, not at 80, not at 90, but the moment they decide to stop pushing their physical limits. The people who live past 100 and remain functional don't treat their bodies like fragile relics. They treat them as tools that need to be sharpened and maintained every single day. It's a fact that muscle mass, bone density, and cardiovascular health decline with age. But what most people don't realize is that much of this decline is preventable. Strength training, even in old age, can rebuild lost muscle. Regular movement keeps joints lubricated, prevents stiffness, and maintains mobility. The human body is highly adaptable. It responds to what it's given. If you give it challenge, it stays strong. If you give it rest, it withers. One of the most dangerous things an aging person can do is become sedentary. Sitting for hours every day, avoiding strenuous activity, and letting their muscles atrophy leads to weakness, falls, fractures, and a rapid loss of independence. Studies show that seniors who engage in resistance training, even light weights or body weight exercises, experience fewer injuries, maintain better balance, and even improve cognitive function. There's a direct link between physical strength and mental sharpness. A strong body fuels a strong mind. Cardiovascular health is just as crucial. Walking, swimming, cycling, any activity that keeps the heart working reduces the risk of heart disease, stroke, and even neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. The longest-lived populations in the world don't necessarily go to the gym, but they move constantly. They walk everywhere, they garden, they work with their hands, and they don't let modern conveniences make them passive. The reality is that physical decline is often a choice. Yes, aging presents challenges, but the body's ability to regenerate doesn't disappear with time. It slows, but it never stops. The key is to keep challenging it. Those who reach 100 with vitality do so because they never stop treating their bodies with the discipline and respect that longevity demands. If you want to live long and live well, movement is non-negotiable. Human beings are inherently social creatures. From the moment we're born, our survival depends on connection, on family, on friendships, on a network of relationships that provide support, challenge, and meaning. Yet, as people age, they often retreat into isolation. Their friends pass away, their families grow busy with their own lives, and society subtly pushes them aside. This is one of the most destructive patterns of old age, and it's one of the primary reasons many seniors experience a sharp decline after 80. Loneliness is not just an emotional burden, it's a physical killer. Studies have shown that social isolation is as dangerous as smoking or obesity when it comes to predicting early death. It weakens the immune system, increases the risk of heart disease, and accelerates cognitive decline. When a person is alone for too long, their mind starts to shut down. There's no one to challenge their thoughts, no one to share stories with, no one to demand a response. The brain thrives on engagement, on conversation, on the dynamic exchange of ideas and emotions. When that disappears, the mind begins to stagnate. The people who live the longest and maintain their mental sharpness do so because they remain connected to others. They actively cultivate relationships, whether through family, friends, or community. They don't just sit back and wait for people to come to them, they reach out. They engage in meaningful conversations, they laugh, they debate, they tell stories. These social interactions keep the mind active, the heart engaged, and the body healthier. One of the greatest mistakes aging individuals make is believing they have nothing left to contribute to relationships. They assume that younger people don't want to hear their stories, that their presence is a burden. This is simply not true. The wisdom of experience is invaluable, and those who live the longest are often those who continue to share what they've learned with others. They mentor, they guide, they stay involved in their communities. They recognize that even in old age, they have something to offer. There is a reason why some of the longest-lived cultures place a strong emphasis on family and community. In places where elders are respected, engaged, and surrounded by social networks, people tend to live longer and with greater happiness. Staying socially connected isn't just about avoiding loneliness. It's about maintaining a sense of identity, purpose, and vitality. If you want to live beyond 100, you cannot do it alone. The brain is not a machine that simply wears out over time. It is a living, adaptable organ that thrives on challenge. Yet many people, as they grow older, stop engaging in activities that push their mental limits. They settle into routines, avoid learning new things, and gradually allow their cognitive abilities to decline. This is one of the biggest reasons people experience memory loss, confusion, and a loss of sharpness after 80. The reality is that mental decline is not inevitable. It is largely a result of disuse. Neuroscience has shown that the brain remains plastic throughout life, meaning it can continue to form new connections and strengthen existing ones. But for that to happen, it must be used in complex and challenging ways. The people who live the longest and maintain their cognitive abilities are those who never stop learning. They read, they write, they engage in deep conversations, and they seek out new skills. Learning a new language, picking up a musical instrument, or even solving puzzles has been shown to significantly reduce the risk of dementia and cognitive decline. These activities force the brain to work in unfamiliar ways, strengthening neural pathways and keeping the mind agile. Another crucial factor is problem solving. When people stop having to think critically, whether through work, decision-making, or intellectual engagement, their cognitive abilities begin to weaken. The sharpest minds among the elderly are those who continue to tackle difficult problems. They may still be involved in business, in teaching, in mentoring, or in strategic thinking. The key is that they keep their minds active and engaged with real-world challenges. Social engagement also plays a role. Conversations that require deep thinking, debate, and reflection force the brain to process information quickly and adapt to new perspectives. Passive socializing, like watching television without engaging in discussion, does not have the same effect. The longest-lived people are those who surround themselves with stimulating interactions, where they are constantly learning from others and contributing their own thoughts. Stagnation is the real enemy of the aging mind. Just as the body weakens from inactivity, the brain deteriorates when it is not used. Lifelong learning is not just a way to pass the time. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to remain sharp, engaged, and truly alive. The key to mental longevity is to continuously seek out challenges, embrace new knowledge, and never allow the mind to settle into complacency. There is something deeper than just physical health and mental sharpness that determines how long and how well a person lives. It is the sense that life has meaning, that there is a reason to keep going, even when the body starts to slow down and the challenges of old age become more pronounced. People who live past 100 with clarity and vitality almost always have something that anchors them, a deep sense of purpose, a connection to something greater than themselves, whether that is faith, philosophy, family, or a personal mission. Without meaning, existence becomes empty. A person can have perfect physical health, a sharp mind, and strong social connections, but if they don't wake up in the morning with a reason to live, they will deteriorate quickly. Many seniors experience this when they retire. Their careers gave them purpose, structure, and a sense of contribution. And when that is suddenly gone, they feel lost. They drift without direction, and it is in that drifting that decline sets in. The people who avoid this fate are those who actively cultivate meaning in their later years. They redefine their role in the world, finding new ways to contribute, new reasons to stay engaged. Spirituality in particular plays a profound role in longevity. It doesn't have to be religious faith, though for many people it is. It can be a deep connection to philosophy, a belief in the importance of leaving a legacy, or a commitment to personal growth. Studies consistently show that people with strong spiritual or philosophical beliefs tend to live longer and handle stress better. Their perspective allows them to navigate suffering, loss, and the inevitable difficulties of aging with resilience. They don't see old age as an endpoint, but as another stage of development, another opportunity to grow. A sense of meaning also affects the body. People with purpose tend to take better care of themselves. They eat better, they exercise, they stay engaged, because they feel that their life matters. The mind and body respond to what a person believes about their existence. Those who see themselves as irrelevant, as having outlived their usefulness, often decline rapidly. But those who believe they still have something to give, that their life still has value, tend to fight for their health, their relationships, and their intellectual sharpness. Meaning is not just an abstract concept. It is one of the most powerful forces in determining whether a person fades away or continues to thrive well beyond 100.